to ask them what they learnt from their parents about money when they grew up. And it's not obvious. So a lot of the time people go, oh, they didn't teach me anything. Like, no one sat me down and said, this is what you do with your money or anything like that. And the reason why that is because no one sat their parents down and did that either. Like most people never get taught about money from their family, from their parents or anything directly. They don't teach it at school. So, I've spoken to 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 60-year-olds, 80-year-olds. And the one thing they all say is they never taught us this stuff at school.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are then learning this by osmosis. They're learning it subconsciously through people's actions and emotions and things like that. So what we do is we dig into, well, what did you see growing up? What kind of, what was it like at home with money? And people learn from their parents. They like whatever their parents' behaviors were or values were or beliefs were, kids usually pick that up. And then it's when they're adults, they start finding that they're repeating those patterns, but unconsciously, because it's not until I ask those questions that they start to realize, oh, wow, because my dad did this, I do that. Because my mum did this, I do this. And so it has a massive, massive impact. So much so that there's a little model that I've come up with, which essentially says that whatever behaviors or values parents had, the kids will either repeat them or reject them. Mm-hmm. And so the common ones I see is if the parents were really, really big spenders, then kids will usually grow up and be really big spenders. If the parents were savers, they'll grow up and be really stingy savers and don't want to spend any money. So that's them repeating the pattern, or they do the opposite and so they don't take like the middle ground, they just repeat or reject. So then the opposite is if parents were spenders, then they've become really, really adverse to spending. And they're rejecting that behavior. Or if the parents were like stingy savers, then they grow up and they go, now that I've got money, I'm going to blow it all. I'm just going to spend it all. So it has a massive impact. It really is invisible, but it's massive.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you say it's the unconscious pattern. So it's until people, because that's what I see with couples, is that it's until they start talking about the situation and really looking at where did this idea come from, that's when people become more conscious of their patterns, and that's when they can start changing.
Definitely, yeah. And you can't improve anything until you become aware of it. So first you've got to first become aware, and so many people are unaware of what they are repeating and what they've picked up, and also what they're passing on to their kids. Because bear in mind, they picked up from their parents and they're about to pass it on to their kids if they're not careful and don't become aware of what behaviors they are following and what values and beliefs they're holding. And sometimes those beliefs and values can be beneficial, but a lot of the time they can be quite harmful without people even realizing.
Yeah, absolutely. Great.